Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2, the playoffs of the World Championship Series Fall 2019. Two names you should know. Two players near the very best, if not the best, of their respective races, and one of them is already been crowned the best in the world, looking to defend his title. In the bottom right, the challenger, with a rough road to get here, but making it up against the final boss, the iconic Terran's Terran, the man very committed to his style and executes it so well, the German player. It is Hero Big Gabe Marine, iconically and appropriately named. And in the top left, opting to open things up with a pull first. And of course, an extractor. A little cheesy. A little cheesy. You know him. You probably love him. The first foreign player to ever win BlizzCon. The 5-time WCS champion. Probably, well, in the words of his opponent, one of the top 5 players in the world. A strong statement. From Finland. The finisher. SERRAL. Bleeding a little this year. Losing a couple WCS finals to a single man. Rainer. He has not lost a single game in this WCS fall tournament held at DreamHack Montreal. Not a single one. Will Heromarine be the first? We're on one of my favorite maps, for no reason in particular, Winter's Gate, which utilizes slow zones around the center of the map, but can be partially negated by taking down the rocks. It also has some slow zones on the outside here, so things like drops and other air units can struggle to escape, making it a little bit easier to defend. We'll have to see. Reaper comes in. He's going to spot that this is indeed a pull first. Speed is on the way. Your Marine pulls away from his command center. So while he goes for the quick speed play, SERRAL only going to commit to, I believe, 4 Zerglings so far. Yeah, 4 Zerglings. What other player goes pull first to play a safe macro build? Okay, plenty of players do, but like pretty much everything he does, none quite pull it off like SERRAL. And immediate overlord speed. Now here's the thing about SERRAL. Many players, Heromarine, Rainer, Showtime Neeb, you can find a category to put them in. They have a comfort zone. They have units they like. For Heromarine, it's pretty much every unit that starts with M. It's that Parade Terran push, usually Bio, but occasionally Mech. Just this high-pressure style of Terran. Very mid-game, or at least mid to late game. Not usually the ultra-late game. SERRAL, on the other hand, his strength is winning. That's not to be like, he just has something other people don't. It's just he does everything better. That oftentimes seems to be the case. He's on top of the counterattacks. He's on top of the regular attacks. He's on top of the drones. He's on top of the creep. He's on top of the upgrades. Overlord speed gives him essentially map hack level vision. Overlord comes in, spots that there is indeed a 1-1-1 with the SERRAL cam here. Now, Stim is on the way. He can see the tech lab upgrading. That was partially to confirm that the starport was not flipped over to the tech lab and going for something like a Cloak Banshee or even a battle cruiser. Another Overlord comes in. He doubles down. He crosses his T's, he dots his I's, and he raises his WCS trophies. You don't get there by just guessing. Okay, even though he's probably pretty good at that. I wouldn't love to play poker with SERRAL, but I'd love to watch SERRAL play poker. Many StarCraft players also accomplished poker players one way or another. Many former StarCraft and StarCraft 2 pros play professional and semi-professional poker. A lot of the skills carry over. Gambling with imperfect information, doing quick calculations on risk and reward, things like that, and maintaining a cool mentality. And also just being too goddamn smart, in SERRAL's case. Alright, Rock's being taken down. This is shaping up. So, it is a large map. With the slow zones mean the easiest attack paths are dangerous for Terran, especially if creep covers them, because you cannot... You ever seen Marines try to run away from banelings in slow zones? They don't get far, okay? They do not get far. Unless they have maybe a medevac to pick them up, but even that's risky. The creep spread. Let's just take a look. SERRAL at a leisurely 368 actions per minute. I guarantee you that will go up. Same with Heromarine, very similar. Not much of an indicator right now, besides they're real fast and are going to get faster as more things have to be done on the map. Heromarine didn't really try to put on any pressure. This is a full macro push. Like, he got the Hellion, he had the Hellions, but since SERRAL had a pretty early pull, he's been building up the queen count. Not that that's usually the big decider, but Heromarine just going to kind of stick to his guns, which is a parade push across the map. Continually rallying out units. Doing a push on the 4th. What do we have here? So, okay, the medevacs are coming in. Banes with speed. What are the upgrades? No upgrades for either side. The medevac... Okay, so... things not really coming together for big game. So the medevacs usually want to heal the Marines instead of, well, not. The push, it wasn't a huge commitment, but you give SERRAL a centimeter and he'll take a kilometer. I want to appeal to the right audience. He got slapped away. Okay, that's the simple version. It's like, SERRAL's like, what is this? What is this weak-ass push? You got 2 tanks? You got medevacs completely out of position? Get out of here. Get off my lawn. And that means, not only does it mean that he can drone up, he's at 75 drones, he's got a hive on the way, he's actually skipping any other lair tech right now. That indicates he feels safe enough. He doesn't really need the anti-air. If he has this many queens and this much creep spread, he can get around the map to defend, and he can go straight up to hive. And he's not making a spire, so this will be ultralisks. Now, ultralisks are a little risky, as an arguably great man once said. When I'm really far ahead and I want to lose, I make ultralisks. That man, Idra, a very different Zerg than SERRAL, but the same idea applies. Ultras can be killed. Now, that isn't necessarily... Oh, well, the Ultras Cavern gives it away. Ultras can be killed. It's not easy. Oh! Marines can be killed easier. I will say that. Heromarine definitely slipping here. A few disjointed attacks. Good splits when he's focusing on it, but this is the kind of stuff SERRAL's just going to eat up the map. He's got 4 or 5 bases. The creep spread is already over halfway across, and that's not an easy feat. SERRAL is past the 400 APM mark and rising. There's just a lot of things to do now. There's plenty of things to build. Creep tumors to spread. Drops to smash. The one thing he's missing to complement the full tech tree, he's got 90 drones. Where's the Spire? The Spire is the endgame, but he might think he can just cut right through him with Ultras, and he may just be able to slam the door shut on Heromarine. Because you have enough Ultras. You got 90 drones. You can build a whole lot of units, and especially banelings. He will add on the Spire. Now 2-2 is finished up. Actually, Big Gabe having an upgrade advantage, which means if those Ultralisks are not Usain Boltralisks and they're just with their paper upgrades, if they don't have chitinous plating and the speed, then they're going to struggle. Off of creep, at least. But They still have a ton of HP. A couple queens getting picked off, meaning not as much transfuse potential on the Ultras at the front. More banelings being built. SERRAL surprisingly not maxed out. I think he's still kind of deciding what he wants to build. He actually doesn't have the larva. Most of those queens out on the map. SERRAL a big fan of putting the queens at the front to help snipe up. Oh, a grenade coming out. Even still using the Reapers. Heromarine very good, especially when he's paying attention to his micro. That is his biggest strength. He is one of the best, if not the best, Marine Marauder medevac player. It's a weird thing to say. Because I think part of the reason he's so good at the Marine Marauder medevac is he kind of refuses to go for other units for so long. This has been a weakness in the past, okay? At some point, no amount of Marine Marauder mine micro is going to stop the Zerg. But it is not this point. Oh, I take it all back. Well, here's the thing about the mines. They work both ways. Mines also hit your units. Oh, but the splits. He arcs out around who surrounds who. A couple big connections there for SERRAL. Heromarine dips in supply. How many barracks does he have? He has 8 barracks. He's really focused on this bio army. I don't know if he's scanned out the hive. Broodlords are not quite on the way. He's going for the air upgrades. Ultra speed is coming up. Chitinous plating is already done. 3-3 halfway for Heromarine, though. He's going to find a base. He might be like, so what are the other 4 players in the game doing? Microing the medevacs? No, believe it or not, this is a 1v1 game. Taking down the hatchery with this and gets out of there. Also, Heromarine up to the top side. SERRAL looking to jump on it. But this is the weakness of not going for the... Oh, big Widowmon hit's going to take a bite out of the Zerglings. Banelings trickling through. The Ultras mean you're going to have to back up, good sir. Pick up and get out. Another huge swell of bio, but there is a counterattack in the natural as well. He's going to be able to micro this back, but Heromarine not really paying attention. It slipped somewhere. The cracks in the defenses. The Widowmons try to burrow, but the SCVs cannot. SERRAL backs off the 4th base, but he will slam into the natural. The engineering bays are vulnerable, but they're about to finish 3-3, and they shouldn't be going down beforehand. Yeah, the +3 armor going to finish up. So there's a little tiny window here where... Oh my god, Burrow is done. Oh, Burrow is done. Are we finally going to see, since that one game that Scarlet played half a decade ago or more, Burrow Banelings come into effective use? So the one danger here for SERRAL is he has 94 drones, which means his army supply isn't massive. He doesn't have the upgrades here. He's fighting into a planetary fortress. The Ultras are crashing into the bile. Heromarine very good about keeping the Marauders and protecting the Marines. No repair on the Planetary, though. He does have a couple orbitals nearby. The Planetary goes down. The Ultralisk whittled down. There is something in the 3rd base, though, as well. Zergling's going to work. He's down to 56 SCVs. SERRAL loses a lot, but he's just going to instantaneously replace it. Oh, a Nidus in the main. SERRAL going for a Nidus in the main. Okay. Just going to draw him out of position. This could open up a lot of space for Broodlords. Or just to remax. He has so many options. SERRAL has essentially the whole map. Well, at least everything but Heromarine's little corner. Heromarine, he can't go back, so he must go forward. There are no other choices. The units spill out of the Nidus. He's going straight for the Ultralisk. Liberators at the back. There is a second wave of Marines. He splits around. He's on creep, but the Marauders live through. He's got a dozen medevacs in the sky. Medevacs for all, says Heromarine. He needs to keep those Marines alive. His army supply is huge, but his workers are definitely not. Stimming, and so far winning his way through. This is the big weakness of Ultras. You can't trickle them in. 1 or 2 at a time can easily get picked off by these stim bile units with maxed out upgrades. SERRAL's at 143 supply, which is a little bit of an awkward scenario, but he still has plenty of mining. He's still got 76. So Heromarine killing 20 workers has brought SERRAL down to a much more realistic worker count. So that was very kind of him. Oh, the Queen's caught in the Venn diagram of freedom, though. The Queen's an important part. There is no other anti-air. He has no corruptors. So there's nothing to contest the medevacs or the Liberators' big Baneling connections. The Ultras, though, they don't have many other lings in front of them. Suddenly, the Bio Army arcs around and will gun them down. The big game hunters still the supply is dangerously even here, which means Heromarine has 60 more army, 70 more army supply. And it's all bearing down and tearing through. The Nidus network will be taken out. Not that that's going to be a huge option. He has to kill the army. SERRAL just needs a bunch of banelings and enough corruptors to wipe the liberators. The banelings rolling through. Another incredible split from Heromarine. So far, the corruptors trickling out. A single ultra. He's putting on a clinic on how to take out ultras. Isolate and destroy. More SCVs. It's 110 supply, of which 91 is army. More drones being taken out. A liberator will siege up, but it can't shoot underground. Major design flaw. He's gonna... Oh my, he has more medevacs than he has bio units. He's got 14 medevacs. The corruptors trying their best. I don't think he noticed the burrow. He had it already queued up with the liberator. If he noticed the burrow, that's like 30 drones, 20-something drones there. That would be a lot of... That's actually a significant amount to potentially lose, but SERRAL did dodge a bit of a bullet, or many bullets there. The lings keep trickling through. SERRAL definitely... He made the mistake, like, something... a bit of a Scarlet move, where you build so many drones, suddenly your army isn't big enough to actually deal with the Terran. Heromarine has no economy, but he does have a good healthcare plan, as all these Marines and Marauders are staying intact. If the Banelings don't do enough damage... Oh, beautiful split at the last second, negating everything. Suddenly it's just Ultras left over. And if you don't kill these units, they're going to be back at full HP in no time. Heromarine still trickling through. Suddenly, there's almost nothing left. A single Marine, a Heromarine. Another medevac taken out, bringing him down to the low number of 11. Not a single... Oh, the accidental... Randy, the accidental swarm host. Always making a cameo appearance if a game goes on long enough. It's an iconic part of playing Zerg, is accidentally making a swarm host when you're trying to A-move instead of produce. 107 to 104 supply, but still so much... That's a lot of Marauders at the front. He's doing a great job splitting. He's doing it on creep, which is insanely risky. One or two Baneling connections or just enough Lings, and suddenly everything turns. But Heromarine maintaining the army supply count. That I think SERRAL is really regretting right now, not just going straight up to that Infestor Broodlord. He wanted to try to knock Heromarine out with the ultralisks. It did not pan out. Another ultra taken down. He picks up the rest. He gets out. Losing a few more medevacs. SERRAL still has all these bases. There's the top right. It's the burrow on those drones. SERRAL reacted quick enough on the burrow drones in the top right corner. If he was down to 30-something drones right now, I think he'd be... The fact that Heromarine has done this all, literally just Marines, Marauders, medevacs, and a dream. He hasn't made Liberators for a while. He hasn't made medevacs since like 8 minutes ago, but he's been running on what he started with. A true Terran's Terran. Still working his way through. 18 SCVs, but still how many orbitals left? 5 orbitals. Ultralist pops out and just saunters away. But does Heromarine have enough to continue to fight? Yes. I mean, he has to. He has no choice. Oh, where are the medevacs? The medevacs a little out of position here. He turns. Does he realize there are Baneling mines? He's working his way through. He says, Well, once again, he drives him back. I don't know if he's seen the burrow yet. I think he realizes burrow exists, but he's on a mule-based economy now. And he's stuck with these Marines and Marauders. Oh, the creep. So dangerous. So many Banelings. And suddenly the critical mass of Terran units is gone. That was a little ambitious. There was a counterattack happening. He couldn't focus 100%. Another Widow Mine. I think SERRAL spotted it. The supplies still, like, very misleading. They're getting a little closer, but the supplies have been misleading since the Nidus hit the main. The Nidus was the trigger on the constant Terran attack. The Zerglings don't seem to care. One by one, they will be gunned down by the Liberator, but there are dozens of them. slows down for a moment. It's actually kind of hard to tell now, because SERRAL has lost a lot of workers. Heromarine has stabilized. He has orbital commands. I think Heromarine did enough damage that time no longer is 1 on the other side of the bracket, and 2, so much in SERRAL's favor. Holds the line here. But the Banelings come spilling down. SERRAL's looking for a knockout blow. The medevac count is down to a more realistic position. A realistic number, rather. The Banelings continue. There are just so many Banelings. Without the medevacs, even the Marauders can't stand their ground against him. SERRAL finds the critical mass. Twelve SCVs going down. Heromarine has been struggling. There's a burrowed Ling at this location. He just dropped a bunch of mules. Heromarine taps it out after scanning the base in the top right. SERRAL held. It was 100 to 30 army supply. He had to play whack-a-mole with the hatcheries. I feel SERRAL playing that game about as fast and loose as Heromarine was. Like, that's Heromarines' MO. He's like, I've got Marines, I've got Marauders, I've got medevacs, and I've got a mission. That's it. That's his comfort zone. Whereas SERRAL is usually the player like, we will go Infestor and Broodlord, and good luck. But he actually decided on Ultras that game, which is, I'm kind of surprised he skipped straight from essentially hatch tech straight to Ultralisks, because that leaves you vulnerable, and Terran units can be very cost-effective, as we saw there. But he held. Just like, I think that the one turning point from Heromarine pushed it all the way over. It was the drones burrowed at the base. If he had gotten those drones, I think Big Gabe wins the match. But not this time. SERRAL lives. It's not fair. Hopefully you enjoyed the cast and the breakdown. If you did, smash that like button. Ring the bell. We didn't even see any burrowed Bane, so how are we going to get the clips? You just have to watch the full thing. Of course, plenty of other videos and casts and all that. Leave a comment saying, I guess Zerg is just so easy. Or Terran has to work 4 times harder than the other races, because Terrans are only allowed to build units that start with M. Marines, Mines, Medevacs, Mules, what else? Marauders. That's it. Very sad, but thank you for watching. Congratulations.